Express. Distraction bullshit of Cheltenham. And then a world exclusive. Yeah, world exclusive. You know, you heard it first here. Dead Russian was on Putin's hit list. Security fears for 21 targets living in Britain. I've got a question for you. How did the Express know about Putin's hit list if he's got one? Oh, because Putin was on the phone and says, hey, Express, yeah, report for me because, you know, I've got a hit list. How do they know these 21 others are on there? Yeah, it's Vlad here, Express. Yeah, I've got 21 others on my hit list, just so you can report it, okay? No problem. And the bloke that impersonates Steven Hawkins has died. Mirror. Death of a genius. The bloke that impersonated Steven Hawkins for about the past 40 years. Cheltenham distraction. And Cold War 2. Putin vows revenge as PM kicks out 23 Russian spooks in poison storm. Well, I heard they were diplomats, so where they get spooks from is made up bullshit. And I'd also like to ask a question. Where did the Mirror get the information that Putin has vowed revenge as PM kicks out 23 Russians? Ah, of course, so obvious. Yeah, Mirror, hi, it's Putin here. I'm vowing revenge for those 23 Russian spooks that were kicked out. Don't forget to put it in the paper. Okay, Vlad, we'll do that. The scum. The Cheltenham distraction is there again. The guy who impersonated, I mean, just think about it. He couldn't talk, so apparently somehow he used that thing in his mouth to, I am happy to be here. Or I'll give you another option. What about if the controllers of this bloke that couldn't move, that was impersonating Hawkins, had a radio link to his device and they just typed whatever they wanted him to say? I think that's a far more realistic idea than the one that they're trying to push. Comedy genius Bowen is also dead. Supernova smashing great. I think that was one of his catchphrases. Dogs with human mugs. Oh, it's Theresa May. Outrage at Red Jezza. Putin's puppet as opposed to May, the puppet. Corbyn refuses to blast Russia on spy attack. Well, I mean, I don't like the bloke. He's a puppet at the end of the day. He is a puppet. That's a given, because anyone in Parliament that gets to any position of leader is a controlled puppet. But on this particular issue, I give him a little bit of credit where it's due. He said, show me the evidence and I'll say, okay, yeah, they did it. The evidence being, we said so. May says, we said so, so there's your evidence, and don't question it. Daily fail. Glowing with health as a boy, apart from his crooked legs. The genius who defied crippling illness to unlock the world's wonders of the universe. And then, of course, we changed him for a lookalike about 40 years ago because he died, but don't worry about that. Corbyn, the Kremlin stooge. Mutinous Labour MPs accuse him of appeasement for not condemning Putin even though there's no evidence that suggests that, that Russia had anything to do with it. He wants Moscow to run over poison tests. I don't see a problem with that. Unless you've got something to hide, of course. His spin doctor suggests our spies can't be trusted. Well, the fact you're a spy means you can't be trusted. These papers are just so moronic. The Guardian. Life would be tragic if it weren't funny. The guy that impersonated Steven Hawkins for over 40 years has died. Russia threatens retaliation as May expels 23 diplomats. I thought there were spooks a minute ago, and now the diplomats. Which one is it, papers? Can't make your mind up, so you just don't know what to... Yeah, bunch of rags, waste of time and energy. The Russian state was responsible for the attempted murder of Mr. Skripal and his daughter, Theresa May. Oh, really? And what evidence do you have to back that heinous statement up? Oh, none. Oh, yeah, of course you don't. Because you're trying to cause World War III. This bitch needs taking out and executing. Well, maybe not executing, because that's too quick. It's all over quickly. But the whole of the cabinet, just like the whole of the executive branch of every council, needs taking out and locking up immediately for our own safety. She's out to cause World War III because she knows she'll be in a deep underground bunker while the rest of us are here trying to deal with it. But, you know, don't let that worry you, because it's never going to happen unless you let it, of course. Technology is a monster. Meet the digital evangelist who lost her faith. The best meals you can buy under a £5. Doesn't apply to MPs because it is all on expenses, so they get the most expensive of everything and doesn't cost them anything. If we cared a little more, low-wage Britain wouldn't exist. James Bloodworth. The Times. Steven Hawkins. Reaction and tributes. Obituary. Giles Whittle. It wasn't him. France defies May over Russia. PM told to show proof that Putin ordered chemical attack. Well, she would do, but she hasn't got any. Besides, just take her word for it, because she's never lied in the past about anything ever, has she? Oh wait, every time her mouth moves she's lying. 23 diplomats thrown out as UK retaliates against Moscow for not poisoning anyone because it was MI5, MI6 that poisoned them, but we want you to believe it was Russia because we're trying to cause World War III. Yes, and I'm just a Rothschild Zionist puppet, so do as I say. Believe me, because I always lie every time my mouth opens, but because I'm told to. Yes, I get blackmailed by the Rothschilds, MI5, MI6, who caught me doing dirty things to children, but that was so they could blackmail me and control me. Of course, I enjoy it anyway, and don't give a shit about anyone. Britain can sign trade deals while in single market, Brussels rules. Oh, well, I thought we were leaving the EU, but Brussels has said it's okay to sign trade deals. Oh, right, so we're not leaving then because we're still being told what to do. And while we've got a bunch of puppets in Parliament, mind you, Parliament should be destroyed and disbanded. They're all a bunch of lying puppet scumbags. What? How on earth did we get to the state where we let a bunch of millionaires, multiple millionaires, tell us what we can and can't do. They write the rules that we're supposed to obey, why they just ignore them. Hey, well, you know, you you just carry on. Just carry on. See where it gets you. Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Well, he didn't have much choice, really, because he couldn't look anywhere else, could he? That's not Hawkins. That's a puppet impersonating him. Oh, by the way, it's the Telegraph. We must bolster our defences. Williamson to warn we are at crossroads in history. Yeah, they either bring in a dictatorship and exterminate the majority of us, or we stand up and take it back. By the way, time to stand up. New centre to deal with chemical threat. We got Portland down where they manufactured the nerve agent that they used to try and blame Russia. So why do we need a new one? May expels 23 diplomats. But wait a minute. Wait a doggone cotton picking minute there, Tom boy. John boy. Even. We manufactured the nerve agent that we used to try and poison their Schiphol so we could blame Russia, because it's our plan to cause World War III. Funding falls for firms with women founders. Oh, that pushing that woman thing again. Even the women are getting sick of this. I've had them contact me saying, we know it's not you, it's these scumbags in government. Mind control. Government decides to save the pennies. Okay then, we'll see. Oxford introduces female author targets. Still pushing that woman thing again. Women are equal anyway. It's just that the way the government works things, they're not. Barcelona. Proof too good for Chelsea. Oh dear. Metro, that reliable bastion of deception and mistrust. Stephen Hawkins. Before he died the first time, he was replaced by a lookalike that actually looks nothing like him, but hey-ho. Just like John Lennon. Not John Lennon, Paul McCartney. That's not Paul McCartney, that's a lookalike. For a start, he's 6 inches taller than the original, but hey, you know, take of it what you will. Push-Offsky. 23 spies ejected in strongest action since the Cold War. Royal boycott of Putin's World Cup as contact severed. Putin's World Cup? It's not Putin's World Cup, it's just being held in Russia, you morons. Russian crime boss in UK face full force of law. Mr. Putin addresses at a rally in somewhere yesterday. Mrs. May hit back at Russia over the poisoning in Salisbury. Yes, we poisoned the Russian guy and his daughter so that we could use it as a pretense to blame Russia and start World War III, because we're going in our deep underground bunkers, so we'll be safe, but screw you lot. Financial Times. Trump talk. Pompeo brings a harder line to the State Department. Okay. Bankers rising. Goldman's ear apparent shifts the power balance. Bullshit. Same ones at the top control it as always. May expels 23 Russians in retaliation for poison attack that was carried out by MI5 and MI6. High-level contact with Moscow cut. Risk of spiral into wider standoff. Stephen Hawking before he was replaced by a not-so-lookalike. Physicist who brought science to the masses in his wheelchair. Practically impossible to work with GKN if Melrose takes over, Airbus says. Unilever poised to choose Rotterdam over London. Oh, we better not leave, even though we're not leaving anyway. Europe then, had we? Dickhead eye paper. Britain's master of the universe, the greatest British stinker since Newton, by Science Journal of the Year, Steve Connor. An attempt to see inside the mind of God by Carl Sagan. Plus, Lord Rees, Baroness Greenfield, pages 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 24. There's 24 pages of junk. At least 24 pages of junk. Cheltenham puller, yeah, go and wear your silly hats, you dumbass poor twats that think they're in with hobnobbing with the oligarchs that run the country. Russia warns it will hit back after May expels diplomats. It's women's fault again. Beware of the mini-beast, deep frozen forest. Taxes must rise by 30 billion to balance books, warns IFS. That means we've got to raise the taxes, because if we don't, you might just have enough money to live on. And we can't have that, because our plan is to depopulate the planet and kill you all. So we're going to use some fake excuse to raise the taxes to rob you further. Now this Sunday, there's a Chartist meeting in Nottingham. Get there, it's going to be a biggie. We've had all the meetings before where we've talked and explained what's going on. This meeting is going to be explaining again what's going on, but what we can do. This is the start of the end for the criminal cabal who control the government, who control the councils. Oh, well, by the way, all those that had the day off because of on the Thursday after the snow, after the councils were told by the government not to grit the roads, should be suing the councils and the government for loss of earnings. If you're an employer, you should also be suing the government and councils for not doing their job. They have very little jobs to do. Gritting the roads is one of the menial jobs they have, and they couldn't even do that. If you've lost money, they're to blame. We should bring a mass action suit against them, sue the councils, sue the governments.